So I've been working on merging 3 McCulloch chainsaws into one with all the features I want to put in this case I got and carry in the back of the Jeep. So of the three, the one that was in the nicest condition was this Mac 110. And by nicest condition, I mean paint-wise, seemed like it stopped running after very little use. I had this black case, Mac 110. It says Mac 110 over there, but I think actually these were marketed as Eager Beaver 2.0s, but maybe they sold them under both. It's hard. It's a very convoluted history, and model numbers are weird. But I suspect the reason that this one, which had a lot of wear and a lot of use, still ran is because it had electronic ignition. Where the older, this is the years they made this were like 77 to 83. So I'll say this is from the 80s. I'll say this is from the 90s. That's when I think they stopped making these. And then another one I grabbed parts off of is this, which I will say is from the 70s. This I got running a while ago by cleaning the carburetor, filing and gapping the points, gapping the coil. That got it running, but it has no chain brake. It's kind of it has a what I consider overly long bar on it, although that bar is in like new condition. So if I do need a long bar on this when I'm done, I'll have that available. This is the bar I plan on using on here. It's tiny. I think this had the same size bar. It's buried under here somewhere. That one has the McCulloch name worn completely off. This one still, you can still make out that it said McCulloch. I'm not restoring anything. I'm just combining these into the features I want. So this one ran. So first thing I did was I took the carburetor and the electronic ignition off of this and put it on the Mac 110. Now you might ask, why don't I just swap the whole engine in or something like that? This did not have automatic oiling. This was manual oil only. So I want, and this can't be, I mean, there would be machining involved if I wanted to convert this into automatic oiling. It could be as simple as drilling into the crankcase so the pressure can operate a diaphragm. But then am I getting shavings in the crankcase? And then I'm talking about taking the bottom end apart. I'd rather just put the ignition and carburetor from the 90s one onto the 80s one. The 80s has the automatic oiling. There were some other features on the one from the 90s that I liked that I've transferred over. They are this throttle hold. The older ones don't have that. That's nice for starting your chainsaw. Something I transferred over from the 80s carburetor, which is a Walbro, to this carburetor, which is a Zama. And even though they're different brands, they're their exact same design. And so the idle adjust screw, the Zama one didn't have this shroud around it, which and I like that shroud because it can be hard to hold a screwdriver still on a vibrating chainsaw. So I transferred that over. The threads were the same. Seems to work. I can't find... Oh, here's the Zama one. And the way these work is that very tapered head just rides against the butterfly actuator on top of the carburetor, and that adjusts the idle. Let's see. There was another. Oh, so yeah, I compared the two flywheels. I wasn't sure if the flywheels were the same between electronic and points ignition. They look to be. So I kept the 80s flywheel and didn't use the 90s flywheel because this has, well, the poles are plastic, and also this one has, I guess, a broken clock spring on one of the poles. So only like every half a turn, it would actually grab the pull start would actually grab the flywheel. Oh, something else I assumed I had to do. I don't know if I really did, but I put the 90s trigger on here because it looked different, and I suppose the difference was for the trigger lock. So let's see what else. Oh, so two parts that I'm going to use off the 1970s one. This rubberized handle. Only the Mini Max 6 from the early 70s had this. So I just transferred one of the better of the two handles here over to the Mini Max 6. This does run. If this thing works fine, I have no use for this. I figure I'll sell it, or I don't know, just store it in the shed. So let's see what's left. The way this works, I gotta just push the gas tank in. This little fuel connection, that just, it has an O-ring and it slips into the bottom of the fuel tank. These are that's tight felt jammed in there. All of these have that in the gas tank, and I suspect the reason is so no matter what angle you're at, no matter where the gas is sloshed to in the gas tank, there will always be some gas in that felt that the chainsaw can use while at odd angles. Another part from the 1970s one that I like is the manual oiler. I like how it actually has this little button that says oil, where the newer ones, are just like a bent hanger. So I'm gonna put that on there. Let me go into a little bit more detail on converting this from points to electronic ignition. So here's all the points crap and its associated coil. I contemplated, can I just leave this in there? It didn't look to be in the way of anything, but in fact it was, because this piece of metal is what the kill switch rubs off on the points ignition. For the electronic ignition, you have that long spring-looking piece of metal wraps from down by the electronic ignition coil, and that passes right through the space that would have been taken up by the points and all that. I left the mounting. I tightened the mounting screws for the points. I put them back in there because I didn't know if those went all the way into the crankcase. So they're in there. They're not bottomed out. So I figured those holes didn't go all the way into the crankcase, but they're tight. So I don't think I have to worry about those loosening. Let's see. I think that covers it. Now, this Mac 110, although being aesthetically the best and in the best condition. It had a broken, glued, I don't know, chewed on brake handle, so I'm gonna use the brake handle off the one from the 90s. I think that covers it. And then here's the case, which I plan on. The whole idea of this is to be able to carry this in the back of the Jeep for four-wheeling. This doesn't have the plastic built-in guard. It just came with this McCulloch sleeve, which, by the way, looks like, I think this is a 16-inch bar. It looks like this would accommodate the 16-inch bar, as well as, I mean, it's overkill for the tiny bar. But, anyway, that's that.